Hello everyone, and welcome to the Trending in My Life podcast, episode 63. This week, Unpacking Life. So I'm surrounded by boxes which need unpacking, mostly because I can't find things, little things that are really irritating, wires to charge things that I normally use. So my Fitbit has died and needs charging. My iPad is the same, and somewhere in these boxes are those wires. I also keep like a terabyte memory card to transfer things off of my laptop when it gets too full, and the memory is very close to full now, so on the laptop, so I need to move some stuff across, and again I can't find it. So today, Sunday, I'm going to blitz the boxes and try and find things. But the whole unpacking life balance is, once you've moved house and you've got the basics done, as in you've moved, you then have to balance getting back to normal life with just unpacking constantly. So Friday evening I didn't come home after work. I went out to a boat festival, and Saturday morning I went up to North London and was filming some street art because I wanted to get back some of my life and things that I usually do, and that felt really good, being able to do that. But at the same time, Saturday evening I'd finished editing and I looked around the living room and it's just so many boxes, and I thought I also want my home to look more like home, and to get these boxes unpacked, find places for things, and then the empty boxes we're storing in the shed at the back of the garden, because we learned not to store them under the stairs. And if you've watched videos and podcasts, you'll know why. Anyway, so today, Sunday, I'm trying to do more of the unpacking and less of the living my regular life, so that I've had some balance over the weekend. And it did help hugely going back to work on Monday, so I've done a full week of work to feel more back to normal, more living your usual life. I often take photos of flowers on my way to work or on my way home, where I walk past people's front gardens and something will catch my eye and I think, oh, that's beautiful, and I'll take a photo of it, and gradually these end up becoming the shorts that I put out. And I was doing that, which is my usual thing, and my route to work is just a few stops further down the line, so I have to get up early, but my actual route is pretty much the same. Sorry, things falling down. I still get that when I'm sat in my room. Little bits and pieces that I've started to unpack and place around the place drop off or move or shift, and you go to sleep with the sort of sound of the tape starting to undo and stuff like that, which I must say I have been sleeping really, really well, which is nice, and is good for building up your energy. But yeah, I'm trying to get back that balance, and obviously it takes time. It takes, maybe a month to get things straight and back to normal. Also, we have much less storage, built-in storage, than we did at the old house. The kitchen is very small here, and already most of the cupboards are full, and I'm like, oh, there's all the big kitchenware that I haven't unpacked yet, like we've got a wok and Pyrex dishes that go in the oven and stuff like that, and I'm thinking, where on earth am I going to put it? And it's just one of those things, you have to manage and sort of jiggle things and move things around. I did get a little bit more counter space cleared yesterday in the kitchen, and there's very little counter space. So yeah, I promised to update you on the repairs that need doing at the house, and we have managed to, by a great deal of nagging to get the agents to forward things to the landlord, and then she's actually a landlady, and then feedback coming back. And originally they were sending someone to look at repairing the fridge freezer, but then we had another message saying they're going to replace it, and I'm sure it would cost more to repair it than to replace it. And that's good news. That means they're going to eventually give us a new fridge freezer. But we then came up against the fact that it's fitted into a very narrow space. So we thought, hang on a minute, before they buy a new fridge freezer, they need to remember that it's got to be narrow to fit into this space. So we sent them all the measurements, and we're still waiting to hear back whether they've bought it yet, what day they want it delivered, so that we can take time off work to be here. So, I mean, that's a huge bonus. We're still using our own fridge freezer, and and there's still this thing where you have to bend double to actually get anything in or out of the fridge. And as I said, in recent years, everyone does have a fridge freezer, and the fridge bit is at the top, so you get used to opening it at sort of head height. Or waist height, depending on how tall you are. So yeah, that's still an adjustment we're struggling with, but things are moving forward. They're also said they're going to send someone next week to walk through the house and look at the other repairs that need doing, which is good. I mean, it's a step forward. It isn't actually repairing them, but it's a step forward, so that's good. Meanwhile, we did give back the keys at the old house, and the walkthrough with the agent there, he was talking about the fact that this was the last house he would manage because he's retiring, and he was a bit cross with the landlord of that house for not listening to him, because he did advise him not to give tenants notice until he had sold all the paperwork was definitely in place on his own house that he was selling, because that was the bulk of the money. The landlord refused to listen to him, and then his sale fell through, and he was like, oh, see if you can get tenants to stay. But of course, people just like us will have already struggled to find somewhere in a very short time frame and not want to be giving that up and saying, okay, we'll stay another month or whenever until you want to kick us out again. That's not, the whole referencing process with new agents and stuff. You don't want to have to go through that over and over again. So I imagine lots of tenants that on his portfolio of properties did the same thing. But yes, long story short, the agent that was looking at the property to decide whether we got our deposit back or not is not very happy with the landlord, and we thought he will probably give us a good report on the state of the house. And to be fair, it was in a good state of repair considering we'd been there 3 years. But you do get dilapidations in 3 years. You get nicks out of the painted wood on the stairs, you get marks on the walls from furniture being up against it, stuff like that. And I did leave the garden in a really nice looking state. So we're tentatively thinking maybe this time we will get our deposit back. And I said that is so rare, but the agent has reported back to the owner, and the owner now has to decide. And presumably because the house is empty, the owner will go around and walk through himself. And if he decides there's anything he doesn't like, or we should have done better, if he decides we should have repainted the entire house for him, then he will refuse to give back the deposit. But anyway, it would be a wonderful surprise if we did get the deposit back, and that's the progress so far. We haven't found anything else wrong with this house, which is good. It was just that first initial week in here when we kept finding things wrong with it. So yes, it does feel like home. I look forward to coming home in the evenings. I've got into a routine. My morning routine is different. Before, I used to have about 45 minutes to an hour between getting up and going out to catch the train, and the train was only 10 minutes away, 10 minutes walk away. Here I get up at 5 and I have to be out the door at 5:30 in order to make my train. So it's a bit different, but that's kind of good for the dieting thing. That if anyone's followed along with my podcast, you know I've been trying to lose weight since Christmas, and it's been only coming off very slowly. But with that new routine, I'm actually fasting until I get to the other end, near work. And I don't get there till just after 7 o'clock. So my breakfast is later. To anybody else, that's a normal time for breakfast. For me, it's not, since I get up at 5. So usually I will pick up some food the other end when I arrive on the train, and then I've got to walk into work, and then I have to change at work, and then when I get up to the office and have sort of sorted out my day, then I will have a drink and something to eat. So that can be sort of 8:15 before I get something to eat. So that's been good. It's helped with the weight loss. Lost about 5-6 pounds during the move, which is good. I've still got about another stone to go, but yeah. And it's not vanity, it's health reasons. You know, it's better for my health to be less heavy. So that was sort of an accidental thing that happened, and is good. I also found that during that final week of mad packing in the other house and dashing here, there and everywhere, I couldn't care less about food, basically, and I quite often was only eating one meal a day. So I think that contributed to it. And I am slightly back to snacking. It happens at work more than at home, though. And I'm going to try and remedy that with a limit on what I can snack on at work. Anyway, that's my update for you, and that's talking about my unpacking versus life balance. And it isn't easy. I think you either want to do one or the other. You want to be stubborn and say, no, I'm going back to having my life and ignoring all these boxes and just covering them with a big sheet. Versus you want your house back to living normally. But you get there in the end. Well, it's Sunday evening now, and I just wanted to give you an update. There's a huge clear space in the living room, in the middle of the living room, which is lovely. When you walk in, there's space and you can walk and sit down on the sofa, and there's still about 12 boxes to unpack, but they're at the side of the room and they're not right in front of the sofa and the fireplace and everything, and it's not so much in your face. So yeah, did really well. Pleased with that. And I did find the wires that I couldn't find, so my Fitbit is merrily charging, and I've also found my memory card thing, so I can transfer files off my laptop, which is great. So I feel absolutely shattered because I've been on my feet all day, even though I've not been anywhere. But yeah, it's great. The only thing left is the kitchen, and there's so many boxes of things to go in the kitchen, but they're not going to fit in the kitchen. So we might end up using some of these drawer units that I've got around the place, just to store stuff for the kitchen. But because we might get the fridge freezer delivered next week, who knows? I don't want to clutter up the sort of area around the kitchen doorway. So I'll wait and see what happens with that, and we'll just unpack what we need to use for cooking and meals and stuff. If you enjoyed this podcast, please like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend, and come back next time. Bye for now.